Also, I want to talk about my hair. So I had asked for this haircut, but then received this haircut. So for the foreseeable future, you will be seeing my hair in a ponytail because when I take it down, here, I'll just take it down for you. Taking it down, and here's the thing. So I didn't style it like he had styled it yesterday, which was like definitely the Rachel. He styled it with a round brush and it was crazy. But if you see here, like he gave me like too much of this. It looks like I have grown out bangs. And it's not even, they're supposed to be face framing, but they don't frame my face. They're, yeah, it's not the best. So, yeah, my hair is just gonna be in a ponytail from now on until it grows out. Oh, I also asked him to take like only an inch off so I could still put it in a bun for Army. Nope. Everyone, it's Autumn. Today I wanted to do a video talking about a brand called UNDONE Beauty. As you can see, I already have it on my face and you can probably already tell what my opinions are based on the thumbnail. However, after giving it a little bit of thought, I wanted to make this video maybe more useful to those watching instead of just pretty much saying that like I don't like the brand. Because a lot of people were saying that this brand was very similar to the whole Glossier vibe and that products were dupe for Glossier products, or they were a good alternative and they are a little bit cheaper. So what I'm going to do is talk about similar products as I kind of review each one, which I'm going to have to insert it in after the fact. I thought about the way I did this video before and I just seemed really negative and unhelpful. I'm gonna try to stay with drugstore, but as far as what I have mostly high-end products, but I'm gonna try to give you drugstore alternatives to the products here that I just think would be better for what they're trying to achieve. Some of them may be high-end because that's what I have, but for the most part, I'm gonna try to keep it on the drugstore side. I do have a video coming up where I'm going to be trying all Glossier products on my face. Again, those types of brands cater towards people who want minimalist beauty, like something quick to slap on and just kind of look put together. And that's kind of like the whole thought about it. It's just that youthful, glowy, minimalist beauty. I do want to read their mission statement here, and I'll put it here on the screen as well. And it says, we're a group of women in the business of beauty, inspired by the business of real life. We undid everything we knew about product and created UNDONE, a minimalist, multitasking, multi-benefit beauty brand which offers products that do more with less. So I kind of see their vibe. In some directions, the products didn't really make sense to me, and I'm just going to go over that with you as well. I was inspired to do this video, and I even heard about this brand from a YouTuber, which I will put her information, I guess, here, or like a little thing here, so you know who I'm talking about, because I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But she was doing a Glossier dupes video and it came up in my feed. I subscribed to her right after because I really enjoyed her channel, so make sure you check it out. But it came up in my feed, and since I already had that Glossier video coming up, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna order these products. And I went to the Target website because when I put in UNDONE Beauty into the Google search, Target was the first retailer that showed up. But apparently they've been on a couple of other websites. I believe I saw their stuff on Aerie, Amazon, and their own website. They could be at some other places, I'm not sure. But this experience is just from the products that I have and from getting them shipped from Target. Without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and show you everything I received, and then I'm going to do kind of like a get ready with me, and then there'll be little clips like this inserted in throughout as I'm reviewing the products. So here's the thing. I go into the Target website and I'm clicking on pretty much everything from the brand that I would need to do a full face, or at least what they had. Some of the things had terrible reviews, like their mascaras. I have mascara. I'm not going to buy a mascara that's terrible. But a lot of the stuff had really positive reviews, and so I was really excited about that. And the price range was really good. Everything is around $10 to $14, I believe. So I picked up a ton of stuff, spent a little bit over $100, and then it arrived today in the mail. And to say that I'm disappointed is an understatement. So I'm just going to show you now. They packaged it with zero padding in the box. And then also a powder had come broken and it's all over everything else. And then every product has like these stickers on it to where when you go to peel them off, like the product itself is going to be ugly. We're going to try to do a full face using these products. I'm going to review them. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on them. But honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm then going to take myself straight to Target when I'm done and return some stuff, because obviously I can't even use the broken powder. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So we're gonna unpack the box and I'll just show you everything I have. I'm gonna line them up so I can use them. So this right here on top, can't really tell, it looks like, it's called the Undone Highlighting Palette. And it looks like this. Second thing I have here is the Ultra Blendable Water-Based Bronzer. And it looks like a bronzer stick. And like the packaging is like real cheap feeling. I also got the Warm Bronzer Kit, which this didn't come in a bag, whereas in the other one similar to it did come in a bag, so I thought it was kind of weird. But again, it's covered in all these ugly stickers. This right here is called Lip Life, I guess. It's a lip balm. Looks like this. This is something I may keep. So some of the things, I mean, I may keep, but clearly like this powder right here, it's leaking everywhere. It's the over powder. And I was kind of excited about it, but like it's everywhere. I mean, I might even still be able to use the powder. Yeah, I'll even be able to use it without opening it. How fun. Then I also got this, and I was kind of curious about this because this is their 3-in-1 color cream palette. And I got the shade Rosewood. And I'll open it up here. And if you notice, there's stuff like this. It's got like a thing in there, and I don't know if that's different textures or what that is because they don't tell you the description on the website. So like you pretty much have no clue. This right here is the Curator Eye Palette, and I got 710 Bare, and it says on the front, transforms from shadow to liquid liner, but there's also no instructions on how to do that. So do you just add water or do you need a mixing medium? It does not say. And then going into even the reason why I made this purchase, what inspired it all, was this, which she said was similar to the Glossier concealer. However, this is like super dark. And on the Target website, they had different skin tones using each one. So you kind of had an idea of what color would fit who. And so this was the person closest to my color, but I think they mixed them up. And I'll have like a little thing here on the screen here. But the person wearing the shade lighter looked super dark, and then this shade looked lighter. But I went against my natural instinct to get the other shade, and then the super light shade is called Rose, which I know would not fit my skin tone at all. So this is what we have. But again, this is also sectioned into 3, and it just says 3-in-1 coverage cream. But the shades all look the same. And also the compact on this is cracked. If you can see here, like right here, it's cracked. And then, yeah, I don't know what the deal is with this. All right, so opening it up, they look all the same color and the same texture. Why is it split in 3? Like I don't understand. Like it's called 3-in-1, but like they're all the same color. And then I got this, which is, I did get the shade Buttercream in this one. And it says light coverage, skin loving coconut extract. It's called Unfoundation Glow Tint. And that might be okay. It still looks dark, but then again, the light shade was called Rose, and they had a very limited shade selection. And then the last thing I got is this 3-in-1 eye palette, and it says conditioning castor oil, and it says primer, shadow, and liner. So when you open it up, they're all actual creams, and so I'm guessing you can use any of them for it. But when I was looking online and it was called that, I assumed this was the powder, that was the shadow, and then that this is the liner, but they're all creamy. So I'm really curious how these will work. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna start, I didn't get a actual face primer from them, so I'm just gonna start with this right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some on my little hand here. And I'll start off with a little and then see. So that shade actually does seem okay. Doesn't have the same texture though as the Glossier. This feels more like a oil, like a cream to oil texture, and it literally has zero coverage. And I'm also curious if it's gonna break me out since it is very coconut centric. And she was comparing it to Glossier, but I know that RMS Beauty is very coconut oil based. So I was thinking RMS when I saw these products, like not by the packaging, but just by like the ingredient, although I'm sure RMS ingredients look better, but RMS is very coconut based. All right, this hasn't really done a whole lot for the skin. It looks okay. The thing is, normally if I were to wear a product like this, I would want it to have sunscreen in it. And this doesn't, because it's just that light sort of coverage. I would expect it to have sunscreen. So then I'm gonna go into the concealer palette. So I'm first gonna take the middle one and put it right here to try to cover up some blue on my eyes. And we'll see how that works out. Texture-wise, it does remind me, I guess, of the Glossier, but I feel like Glossier has better coverage. And then I'll take this lighter one and kind of go around the nose here. This is so sheer that even though it's a super dark color, it's not looking crazy on me. But I'm not gonna be able to like take it all over my face just because it is kind of dark. Okay, so that's pretty much the best I can do with that, other than putting it all over my face. All right, now I'm gonna try this, which I'm thinking I might like a product like this, but we'll see, because I love cream bronzers. I have the Milk, and I really enjoy that. And I also have the Chanel. Okay, so it looks like one of those gel formulas because it comes off really dark. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a gel. And it's very scented. But we're gonna go ahead and just apply it like I normally would a bronzer. It feels wet. Like very wet on the skin. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and then just kind of go around and try to work it in. Okay. So this formula, I feel like it looks okay here, but I know that since it feels so wet on the skin and it's that formula, you wouldn't be able to put it over foundation because it would bring your foundation up. It would just like, you know, make it separate because the formula is just so wet. But I feel like it did give me kind of like that, I don't know, like if I zoom in, yeah, like you can kind of see it does look a little bit sun-kissed. Like you can see all my freckles on my skin though from this stuff. So it looks a little bit sun-kissed. Maybe this might be something to wear alone if you just want to kind of brighten your complexion a little bit. Yeah, but if I put it on my hand, like you can see it looks very wet. That's just what I keep saying. But okay, so before I go into powder products, I'm going to use the same thing, in which this is called the 3-in-1 as well. And I don't know what 3 things. I'm assuming it would be like maybe lip color, cheek, and one of them's a gloss. So I'm gonna swatch them to see if the textures vary at all. Yeah, so in each one, it's the same color, but it's kind of like they just go from coverage. So lighter, medium, and then darker coverage, but it's all, so I'm assuming the lighter one you'd use as a gloss. It's just kind of weird that they did it that way when they're all the same color. It's just that they've thinned out the formula as they've gone down. So I think I'm gonna go with the medium one for the cheeks. Okay, so put it like all over, and then again, I'm gonna just use the same brush and then kind of, and then maybe I guess I will use the lightest one as a gloss. Not as in lightest as in color, but like the least amount of pigment. All right, so now we're just gonna top it with some of the powder products, and I'm trying to open this, it's so annoying. But this is the 4-in-1 bronzer. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the bronzer shades, which these two definitely look like highlights. And then, there we go. I'm gonna take this Laura Mercier dual fiber brush, and I'm just gonna swirl it over the whole thing. Pat it off here, and then just kind of go in as a full-on bronzer. All right, so now I'm gonna go in, once I open it, with this. Okay, so like if you try to peel this thing off, it will peel off the whole label on the front. So, all right. So here we go. And then again, I'm gonna swatch these highlight shades, which the texture on the purple one is really strange. Like it feels strange. Okay, so here those are. So I'm gonna take my highlight brush though, and I'm just gonna swirl it again through everything just to kind of see how it goes onto the face. And it really kicked up a bunch, I don't know. Okay. So when I swirl, I don't know if you're gonna be able to, yeah, see all that glitter that flies up. All right, so I'm gonna, on the side of the box, because I know that's gonna be, so it actually looks okay with everything mixed in. Like I'm not totally against it. It does look a little extra shiny though, which, I mean, it's a highlight. But I'm not hating it. I just don't think that the quality is that good, but like, I mean, it looks nice and shiny on the skin. I'm gonna then go in with this brush right here. All right, now I wanna go in with the 3-in-1 eye palette that's got conditioning castor oil, which is the primer, shadow, and liner. Let's swatch it first, so I have an idea. Wow, these feel real greasy. Although the black liner one, I'm not getting hardly any pigment from. So I'm gonna use a brush and go into that lightest shade first and just kind of sweep it all over. Yeah, I feel like, let's see, I'm gonna clean up the brows. I haven't done my brows yet. I didn't get a brow product. And then I'll probably have to go over with my finger. I don't know, this doesn't feel like an actual eyeshadow primer. To me, it feels like, it just feels kind of oily. Like I know this would crease if I just left it. I am gonna go in with this shade now, just with my finger, and then just kind of rub it over. I'm gonna go ahead and get this brush to use that and try to go over it with it because it wasn't really blending the way I wanted it to. Oh my gosh, Autumn, just say a sentence altogether. Okay, so it's okay, but again, I know it would probably crease, and it's not very opaque at all. And if I tried to build up the opacity, it would just be an oily mess on my eyelids. And I, like a long time ago, Revlon used to have cream eyeshadows, like in a quad that had like the little bubble sort of stickers on it. That's what it felt like the texture felt like to me. All right, so let's open this up and swatch for pigment. Let me clean off my hand. So I'm gonna go in to the darker shades first. So then these are the darker shades. So those swatch okay. And then let's go into the lighter shades. There those are. So I'm gonna take this little eyeshadow brush because I think it's thin enough to get into those areas. A fluffy brush would just be too big. And I'm gonna go in with that bronzier shade right here. And then just try to pat it. And then I'm just gonna go in with the fluffy brush to kind of blend it. Where it doesn't really look awful. Do I have any fallout? No. And now I'm gonna try to go in that transition type shade right here, but then I'm gonna pinch my brush. And this kicks up, I don't know if you can see, when you try to use a brush in it, it does kick up quite a bit. And then on the brush itself, I'll zoom into that. There you go. On the brush itself, it's just kind of like on there, which is fine. It just doesn't, I don't know how it's gonna stick on the eye. Okay, let's just, yeah, definitely having to blend it out with my fingers a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna take this little precision brush here, go back into that same color I just used, like right there, and move it under the eyes. And then I'm gonna go in with the pinky one next to it, which is like right there. And then, let's see, put it on the inner corner right here. And then maybe mix the pink and the white to actually do that. Oh, okay, so the white is way more pigmented than the pink, so I'm gonna dab that out. So I'm not even gonna attempt to use this as a liner. And what I'm gonna do is, because these are supposed to convert to liners, I'm gonna use an angled brush. Here's my angled brush. I'm gonna use this and I'm gonna spray it with a little bit of water. And so I actually have this from Beauty Pie. It's just a rehydration mist, normally for your face. But I'm just gonna spray it on my brush. And then I'm going to dip into, let's try the red tone. Okay, so then, there we go. And I will line my eyes. All right, so it doesn't look the best, but it also, I guess, doesn't look the worst, because that's all we can ask for. And then here's the powder. I'm gonna try to like get some into my hand, but I don't want to open it because it's such a mess. So here we go. Got some of the powder in my hand, and I'm just gonna use this brush to get it up out of my hand, and I'm just gonna powder my face in the areas. This will also tell me if I actually like the powder to where I might want to actually purchase it. And then the last item is this like liquid lip balm. It's in a gloss container, but they call it a balm. So we're gonna try that out. Which I have this color on my lips, but it seemed a little bit slidey and greasy, so we're just gonna wipe it off. Oh, okay. So it comes out like this. The applicator has little nubbies on it. I don't know, there you go. See that? And okay, so there's pros and cons to those little nubbies. If you have like flaky, dry lips and you need a minor exfoliant, it's good. If you have sensitive lips, it's bad because again, those nubbies are kind of rough. Also, I squeezed on it, and if you notice the top, like it's starting to separate from the actual component. So that's not ideal. Maybe I can push it back down. Nope, okay. But the lip gloss itself feels fine and nourishing, like really no problem with that. So I'm going to do my eyebrows and mascara, and then I'm gonna come back for my final thoughts on this brand. Okay, so my mascara and my brows are on, and I just want to go over my final thoughts on these products. So we will start with this. I find that since it has no sunscreen in it, and it also is not really tinted, although I know the Glossier isn't really tinted, I feel like I get, oddly enough, a better texture to my skin than with this. I just kind of find that maybe this isn't for me. There are like 10 other brands and products that I find are superior to this. So this is not worth it. It's just kind of like a nothing product. If maybe you have a daughter that is starting out with makeup and you're not wanting to get them like full on coverage foundation, that would be fine. But again, it doesn't really cover much. All right, so here are the options for the foundation if you didn't want to get this. I have a couple of other drugstore options as well as high-end options. I'm gonna start with the high-end and kind of just talk about the differences here. It reminded me a lot of the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue, but this actually has SPF in it, which is great. If you were wanting something without SPF, again, the Glossier, I feel like that's the whole vibe they were going for. Apparently their original packaging actually had like this sort of tip on it, and then they decided to change it because their tip was kind of leaky. And then same with the MAC Face and Body, although this has more coverage. These two options that I showed you, again, are super, super light coverage. This you actually can get some coverage out of. So if you're still wanting that shiny effect, like glowy effect on the face, but you need a little bit more coverage, this might be a better option for you. And this comes in two sizes, I think a smaller bottle and a bigger bottle. And the price on this is actually pretty good for it being, I guess, a higher end. I would call MAC like mid-range. So then I have tons of drugstore options. So I'm gonna go with the SPF ones first again. All right, so these Neutrogena ones have SPF 30. I did recently do a video on these and I will have it linked up here for you, whereas in it turns out Neutrogena pretty much has the same product packaged 3 different ways, which I find to be a little bit sketchy. But if you want to have the full details on that, again, go ahead and watch that video. And then also from the drugstore, this has SPF 50, and this is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation. I haven't actually tried this on my face, but I did swatch it, and it's not as glowy as the Undone. So this is a little bit more glowy. It seems more glossy. Like this almost has a satin finish. So if you were wanting something with more of a satin finish, not full on glowy, if you have oilier skin, this might be a good option. Also, this has a little bit more coverage than that did. Like you can kind of see, but it's still kind of glowy, but a little bit more coverage. And then the one that I find also to be super close but has more coverage if you want a glowier effect with no SPF, this is the Revlon Photo Ready Candid Glow. So this has no SPF in it, and it's actually quite glowy on the skin and has a little bit of coverage in it. I would say, well, actually we'll do this and you can see the coverage. So I would say it's light coverage and see the glow. And then so this is dried a little bit. That's still the L'Oreal there, and it's already dried to more of a satin. And then that has a glow. So just kind of depending on your preferences, I think that those are great options. Then to the concealer, it would have been a little bit smarter for them to have like, you know, a lighter and a darker shade within the same skin tone to where you could mix them as needed and then have a color corrector shade for in here. And I think that would have been a much better idea. This just kind of fell flat. Like the colors were very similar. This isn't good. Okay, so for the concealer, I find that that sort of formula in the drugstore isn't really there. And I know that they're going for the RMS concealer vibe, or I think it's called the Uncover, or the Glossier stretch concealer, like that super shiny coverage concealer. But what I find might be a good affordable alternative, even though it is kind of expensive because it's MAC, would be these, because I feel like these go a long way. So these are still sort of like that creamy emollient texture. However, you can customize the shades by mixing, which I feel is like maybe they should have done that on the other thing because they don't have a very good shade range. And you can thin this out as much as you want. So I feel like these MAC palettes are a better option. They're the Pro Conceal and Correct palettes, and I just have them in the shades light and medium. The powder. Clearly, the powder actually felt okay. The problem with the powder is it's broken. So they should have packaged that better. Okay, and I want to give a couple of drugstore options for powder. I didn't really get a good feel of that powder. And I think it was more of like a translucent type powder because they had two shades. But I did want to show you this number 7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Translucent Finishing Powder, and I have the shade Light. I think that this would be a good option for that because it does kind of go on translucent. And then also, if you were looking for something more glowy, e.l.f. has these Halo Glow powders. And I'll kind of dip my finger in that a little bit. And they're translucent, but they leave a glow. And that is right here. And you can kind of see it has a slight glow to it. And that might be a really good option as well because it does take down some of like the greasy shine, but gives you a little bit of a glow. These eyeshadows that are supposed to be able to go into liners if you need them to. The pigmentation was okay, but these reminded me of something, was it Physicians Formula actually had a couple years ago, and like the glitters in the bronze shade are already traveling, I don't know if you can see, like up and around my face. So that just leads me to believe that they're a little bit more powdery. There's not as much binder in them, which since there's not the binder in them, they won't stay on the eyes very long. This is just pretty much like colored grease that's not even that pigmented. Like again, like it's not, I guess if you wanted to do a really smudgy, smoky eye, that might be okay, but no. So then under the description for the eyeshadow, it says, why are so many eyeshadow palettes so gigantic, yet full of colors we won't use or don't use? So here they say that Undone Beauty undid this with the seamless wet to dry curated collection with matte and shimmer essentials and pops in every kit. So here's the thing. If I wanted something inexpensive, I wouldn't go for that palette because again, it had a ton of shades. It was hard to get your brush down in them. Maybe palettes are a little bit larger because it's easier to get your brush into the shadow. I wouldn't go for that. I would go for the shades that you think you'll really enjoy that are curated from these little e.l.f. palettes. So these little e.l.f. palettes, they have several of them. This is the only one that I have. With the more sort of brown, mid-tone brown and bronze tones, but they have several options. And I think this would be a better option. You pick the ones that work best for you, and they're still in a little small package if you're looking for something to fit inside of your beauty bag. And as far as the liner part, just get an eyeliner that works, and then also use a brush, or I would say these Laura Mercier eyeliners. I love these. And I have the shades. These are called the Tightline Cake eyeliners. I don't really know of any other drugstore brands that have these. But I have Violet Asphalt, Black Ebony, and Ground Espresso, and I think these are super great. They stay all day, and I think the quality's there. The one that I used tonight on my eye, out of that palette that I got from Undone, it didn't want to go on evenly once I wet it, and I'll just kind of show you an example. All right, so I'm going to take this angled liner brush here, and I'm going to spray it with the same spray, the Beauty Pie Jeju Daily, and then I'm going to dip into, I'll even do the more fun shade, the purple shade that's got a little bit of shimmer in it, and I just work my brush into that, and then as you can see, I've got it on the brush now, and there you have it. And these stay, so once they dry, they stay. I think it's a better formula. The other ones are trying to be eyeshadows and liners, whereas these are just liners, and I feel like you just get a shade of this that you enjoy and one of these little palettes, and then you're set. As for the cream eyeshadows that they had, I'll pop up here on the screen here, and I'm sure that they're still available in some drugstores, but the Revlon cream eyeshadows, those are the closest thing that I've seen to it, and I think maybe again they were trying to go for the whole RMS cream shadow situation. But I can tell you, if I zoom in on my eye right now, these have already started creasing, and I haven't had them on that long, so let me... So as you can see, my eye makeup is not looking the best. It hasn't been on that long, so I'm not too pleased with it. Okay, and then this product is on where it's kind of close to being okay, but again, it's all the same color. It would have been nice to have a little bit of dimension in here, because what I like to do is maybe sometimes do a little bit darker around the edges and then a little lighter in the middle. And the textures are slightly different, but actually the texture's the same. It's just the pigmentation is different. And I find that I can always dab a more pigmented product and make it appear less pigmented. So I just find that this concept is just silly. And not really that useful. On the cheeks, I hardly even notice the blush on my cheeks anymore. I mean, it's there a little bit, but it's, again, with all the textures being that oily, they just kind of slide into each other and they disappear. I also noticed that, like, when I went over it with my brush, that it picked up the color but left the oiliness on the cheek. So yeah, not good. So some good options for the blush. I have a couple of like drugstore-ish options. They're affordable, and I got them through Ulta, and they are the Holika Holika Jelly Dough blushers. They come like this, and then when you open it, it's got like this little pad like this, and you do this, and then you can tap it on. These are, again, it's kind of like a gel cream formula where it's transparent, it's not opaque, but it does give a beautiful flush to the skin. I guess I will tap this one on my arm somewhere where you can kind of see. You can kind of see it there. This is a good option, but this isn't as, I would say, emollient as the other option. If you're wanting something more emollient, again, I think that they were going for a dupe of the RMS. And this is the Lip to Cheek. And then you can just, you know, shear it out as needed. So I feel like their formula was probably closer to the RMS, but again, this is close to $30, I believe. And then also Bobbi Brown is very similar. It's a lip to cheek sort of cream product. The shade that I tried today on the other one is very similar to this shade right here, which is Blushed Rose. And the shade that I tried on my cheeks today is called Rosewood. The drugstore doesn't really offer a ton of cream blush products right now. And the ones that they do offer come in a tube closer to the whole Glossier vibe. I feel like they're really trying to go after those cloud paints. Whereas I feel like this brand is trying to be a little bit more like RMS. So people have compared them to Glossier, but I find that they're really going after the whole RMS formula and vibe. So then with the final 4 products, these are the ones that are kind of okay, maybe. So this one is the water bronzer, which it does feel like water on the face. And I kept calling it watery. The thing with that is the tone, which they do have other colors. And this is like a warmer sort of tone. It does okay, but you cannot wear it with a foundation since it does have that watery texture. It's going to disrupt your foundation. But if you have like a tinted moisturizer on or no foundation at all, this might be a good option for you. Okay, so now I want to talk about some of the bronzer options. So I do have a couple that are high end that I want to talk about, and then a couple of drugstore options. I'm thinking that the one that they had might be closer to the RMS because it's kind of like that coconut oil sort of gel, like transparent consistency, whereas the Milk Makeup one is a little bit more opaque. Like if I were to swatch it, kind of see that's opaque, but then again you can sheer it out as much as you would like. And I find that this one works okay over makeup and it doesn't really disturb it a whole lot because of the formula. There's also this one by Nude Sticks, which is Bondi Bay, and again, it is very similar to the Milk Makeup one, and I find that this one, though, the tone is a little bit closer to the one that I just tried out. And then I have this one from Clinique that I find is a gel sort of formula, and again, I would put this under your foundation, like kind of like the other one, or with a very thin amount, because it's that transparent gel, and then it just leaves that kind of glow on it. I like to use this one to warm up my face quite a bit. This one is more of a stain though, and so I think it's great because it kind of stains the skin, and then you don't really have to worry about it moving or coming up. So I like to put that on sometimes if I just want to warm up my face for the day, or if I want to put it under something. And then also we have these, which these are by Beauty Pie, but they're the dupes for the Charlotte Tilbury. It's a contour super gel, so you can use these for contouring. One of these is a warmer tone and one of these is a cooler tone. But as you see here, I have it there, and then it really shears out as needed. This is the darker one. So this would be a good option too, and it's from Beauty Pie, which is a membership-based company. I have several videos on it. I'll leave them down below, or one that describes it a little bit better up here. But you have to pay for monthly membership, and then after you pay for that monthly membership, the products are at cost and they're very affordable, and these are great products. This is the warm bronzer, and this is like the little palette. About dropped it. These are super pigmented, so when I swatch them, they're so pigmented that when they go to mix with the bronzer, so let me just do a little mixy swatch. So this is the full-on swatch of all of them mixed together. It's at that point, it's a deeper highlight. And even these two shades have a little bit of shimmer in them. So again, I would say no to that. So then moving on to the bronzer, I think like the closest thing I have again would be something by Beauty Pie, because they have like these Bobbi Brown sort of dupe things, like shimmer brick situations where you can like pick and choose the colors, or you can just swirl the whole thing together. And this gave a similar sort of color to the other one. However, I think what would be a better option at the drugstore would either, if you're wanting like a little bit like a luminous bronze, would probably be the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It. This is a slightly luminous, but it just makes it look kind of like skin. Or you could go with the Revlon Skin Lights. They just came out with these not too long ago where they have highlighters in this. And again, this gives a similar vibe to where if you wanted to make your face glowy and bronzy at the same time, it's right there. Or if you wanted to go more matte, I would say try out these Milani highlighters, and this is the Silky Matte. Milani also has bronzers that have shimmer swirled throughout them. They're in the baked pans, and I think that that would be a good option as well. And then the highlight. So what I like about the highlight is that when you mix all of these shades together, you get just a nice sort of glowy look. Yeah, so here they all are mixed together. And I put it like here. And it actually is a nice glowy look, but you have to be light-handed and very precise with it, because it does seem, again, to travel all over the face, which again, I used a fluffier type of brush like this, and it did seem to kind of travel on the face a little bit. And I actually like this, but again, it is a little bit, I mean, that's super glowy. So for the highlighter, if you were wanting to go for a super, super highlighted look, I think at the drugstore, these Pixie Duo highlighters, mine are very well loved. These still give you a ton of glow without using glitter. And I feel like those had a lot of glitter kick up in them. I'm gonna see here. So I think that this would be a better option if you were wanting something to give you like those super, super good highlights, which, yeah, I feel like this looks good on camera, but in person when I got in my car, it wasn't looking the best. Or another option would be these from Wet n Wild. They're new, and these are the Hello Halo, and you get they call them blush lighters. So it's like a highlighting blush and then a highlighting shade. And again, these are super highlighty. And so if you were looking for something like that, I think these are very close to those. And again, these are less expensive. And then the one product that I actually think I'll keep is this lip gloss balm thing. And I like it because if my lips are feeling a little bit like crusty, I can go over it with those nubs. But the other thing is you're gonna have to continually make sure that this stays down on it. Yeah, it doesn't wanna stay down. Does it twist on? Like, what's the deal with that? Yeah, I don't know. So I can't get that back down. So I'm afraid it's gonna come up as I use the product. And then also those nubs, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be skin in them at some point, which is kind of gross if you think about it. But overall, it just kind of feels like it's a good lip scrub and balm in one, which I don't mind. So this is one I'll keep. I'm just wondering if this texture isn't similar to the e.l.f. jelly texture when they came out with that whole collection. I haven't tried any of those products, but that's kind of what this whole aesthetic reminds me of. So I'd be curious to see if other people have tried those e.l.f. jelly ones and what their thoughts are. One thing I have noticed from this lip gloss from wearing it is it kind of travels and then it goes over the lips and then gets on my teeth, and it almost has like a drying sort of feeling, almost like when you if you've ever gotten deodorant accidentally in your mouth. It's kind of what it reminds me of. Like, it makes my mouth feel dry when I get it in my mouth. So I did want to point that out as well. If you tried anything from this brand, let me know your thoughts. The descriptions on Target were not really even good descriptions. The faces that they had matching up with the colors actually do not actually correspond with the shades. The whole thing is just confusing to me. I just do not get this brand. I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do. No, I feel like for the amount of money, there are so many better drugstore products that are even like less expensive than this, that the quality is way better on. So yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.